So it ain't over till it's over. Coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense Logic and Reason. And as always, I'm going to say thank y'all for joining me today. So, as human beings, we're fallible. We make mistakes. We will always make mistakes until, as long as we're alive, we will make mistakes. Now, in most cases, we make small, minor mistakes that don't really cost us much. But every so often, we will make huge mistakes that cost us a lot. Now, in the case of Archbishop Shaw High School, mistakes cost them the 2025 Louisiana Football State Championship in their division. Now, Archbishop Shaw is a Catholic school in the New Orleans area. I'm very familiar with them. It's about a mile and a half from my alma mater. And when I went to high school, we used to play them like just about every year. So like I said, I'm very familiar with Archbishop Shaw. They had some down years, but it seemed like they're built the program back up since Katrina. And they were in the state championship football game against St. Charles Catholic. Now, late in the game, Shaw was up 21-14, but St. Charles Catholic scored a touchdown with like 35 seconds left on the clock. Seemingly, like I say, we all believed that the game was going to go into overtime. Unfortunately for them, their kicker missed the extra point. So at that point, the only thing that they could do was go for onside kick, in which they did. And Shaw recovered the onside kick at St. Charles Catholic's 45-yard line with less than 35 seconds left, and St. Charles Catholic only having 2 timeouts. I mean, basically, seemingly, Shaw would just kneel down on the ball and basically win basically back-to-back state championships. Unfortunately, though, for them, 3 mistakes cost them that game. Now, the first mistake was after the first kneel down. One of Shaw offensive linemen, number 50, I think his name was, his name was Gustavo Rivera, or his nickname was Gus. He basically threw off his helmet in celebration. That was an unsportsmanlike conduct. So not only did it cost them 15 yards, but it also gave St. Charles Catholic another timeout. So now it allowed them to extend the game. So Shaw just couldn't basically run out the clock with kneel downs anymore. And the second mistake they made was typically when QBs take the snap to kneel down the ball, they take the ball under the center, losing about maybe a yard or so each time. Well, unfortunately for Shaw, their quarterback took the ball in the shotgun. So every time he kneeled down on the ball, he was losing about 7 to 8 yards or so. And when you consider all those yards plus the unsportsmanlike conduct, they end up basically punting the ball from their own 25-yard line. So they went from St. Charles Catholic 45 to their own 25-yard line because of those 2 mistakes. So the third mistake they made was the punter shanked the ball. I mean, the worst time for a punter to shank the ball, the worst time, but he did. And basically St. Charles Catholic got the ball back roughly around their Shaw's maybe 30-yard line, 35-yard line, with about 16 seconds left on the clock. They basically picked up a few yards and gave their kicker a chance, basically a try at a 45-yard field goal or 44-yard field goal, and he kicked the game, and he kicked it and actually made a field goal with 5 seconds left on the clock, in which they won the game. Now, I was actually listening to that game at the time. I didn't watch it. I listened to it. And at that time, I was like, I really felt sorry for the Shaw. I'm like, man, what a way to lose a game, And, the people who I felt sorry for more was the seniors. They had a chance, including the old lineman, Gus. They had a chance to go out as back-to-back state championships, and they lost it based off of mistakes. I know that kid has to feel bad, costing his team like that, because the thing about it is that it took all three mistakes. I believe that all three of those mistakes was necessary to allow them to lose that game. Again, the unsportsmanlike conduct, stopping the clock. That he doesn't do that, that game is over. Then them taking the ball and the quarterback taking the snaps in the shotgun. Again, the amount of yards that they lost. You're talking about 20-something yards, 24 yards they lost just taking the ball, again, kneeling down in the shotgun. And then the shank punt. If again, any one of those things doesn't happen, and I believe Shaw wins that game. It took three mistakes, unfortunate mistakes that they committed. And this is a life learning lesson. I think something that those kids will learn, take this and learn from it. Again, it's not, like I said, it's not just a football lesson. This is a life learning lesson. It ain't over till it's over. And you don't celebrate too early, because again, you haven't won until the game is over. Now, like I say, I feel sorry for those seniors, and it's sad that any game, in order for one team to win, the other team had to lose. So happy for St. Charles Catholic that they won the game, but sad for Shaw. Man, only thing I can hope for them is that they lick their wounds, they come back from this, and go back in this season, go win another championship to make amends for this. But man, this is a life learning lesson that those kids will walk away from. I hope they do. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on this, y'all. It ain't over till it's over, and don't celebrate until it's time. And as always, y'all, until next time.